While The Lion King will always be a beloved and beautifully animated fun fest, if you venture back to the Pride Lands as a grown-up, things might not seem as cute as they did when you were a kid. Here are some of the things that only adults will notice in The Lion King. After being convinced he caused Mufasa's death, Simba flees the Pride Lands at Scar's suggestion. He's chased by Shenzi, Banzai, and Ed, who have been ordered to kill the cub and leave the Pride open for Scar to rule. They follow Simba until he escapes them in a gorge, after which he's free to wallow in his misery. The following scene shows us his tiny sleeping body in the midst of a vast scorched desert, a victim of the brutal heat and the prey of an oncoming gang of vultures, before, of course, being saved by Timon and Pumbaa. Watching this sequence as a child was heartbreaking enough. After all, Simba is innocent, yet it feels like everyone either hates him or wants him dead. Of course, this emotional reaction still stands as adults. Nobody wants to see a cute little lion cub without its family, but the bleak reality of adulthood lets on another realization. Simba probably would have perished out there in the desert. Everything is against him. He's tiny, he's sleeping in direct desert sunlight, he's being attacked by a bunch of carnivorous birds, and as earlier scenes in the film illustrate, he has zero idea how to defend himself. Sorry, but the little dude would have been a total goner. Simba and Nala's relationship in The Lion King was so sweet and vital to the storyline that audiences can't help but root for them, especially as they're the film's only real romantic couple. But what if they weren't? What if there was another couple getting all Hakuna Matata in private, and everyone totally missed it? Think about it. What if Timon and Pumbaa were low-key dating? And if not, why not? Consider the elements. There's a reason why the opposites attract stereotype is a thing, and this duo could not be more different. Yet they're still super happy in each other's company. They love each other dearly, despite Timon's constant sassing and Pumbaa's constant gassing.
This stinks.
Oh, sorry.
Not you. Them!
They accept each other's flaws and roll with them, as any unconditional partnership should do. Not to mention the fact that they make awesome surrogate parents for Simba. And you know it's not just coincidence that the cub's dancing, singing, and main game gets so much stronger under their tutelage. But perhaps most importantly of all, their couple name would be Timba, and you just know that's catchy as hell. Something you might have never realized when watching The Lion King was just how many subtle jokes the writers slipped into the script as a little treat for the parents who were coerced into watching it time and time again. Being able to spot those jokes makes rewatching these movies all the more fun, especially when you realize how strong the writer's pun game is, because The Lion King is stacked with wordplay. Zazu, sassy soul that he is, gets many of the best lines with animal-related puns practically flying out of his beak.
The buzz from the bees is that the leopards are in a bit of a spot.
Oh, really?
The baboons are going ape.
What are you doing, son?
Of course, the giraffes are acting like
Pouncing.
It's honestly quite impressive, not to mention smart, and is bound to have you loving this posh parrot even more than you already did.
I told the elephants to forget it, but they can't.
Zazu, would you turn around?
Yes, sire. The cheetahs are hard up,
Stay
but
low
I
to
always
the
say,
ground.
cheetahs never prosper.
When you watch The Lion King as a child, chances are that you didn't pay much attention to how the film's characters are humanized. Once you revisit as an adult, though, this thought is kind of hard to avoid, and it begs the question, where the heck were all the African accents? Flick through the film's main characters and pay attention to their voices. Simba, Nala, Mufasa, Timon, and Pumbaa are all American. Scar and Zazu, meanwhile, sound British. That's a pretty odd move considering the movie is set in Africa and that you don't usually find a bunch of Americans and Brits hanging around the savannah. While it's cool to recognize voices like JTT, Rowan Atkinson, Matthew Broderick, and Whoopi Goldberg, it would have been much, much cooler had Disney included African accents in the mix, don't you think? Have you ever noticed how much the Pride Lands change once Mufasa dies and Scar takes over? How it morphs from being luscious, life-filled, and bountiful into some sort of post-apocalyptic wasteland? Of course you have. This visual switch is so obvious you probably would have noticed it with your eyes shut, but did you ever wonder how the heck that landscape change came about so quickly? As a kid? Probably not. While it's certainly possible for a landscape to change drastically in a short space of time thanks to droughts, wildfires, and the perils of climate change, how on earth could one lion be responsible for this? The film insinuates that Scar's reign is directly responsible for the devastated disaster zone that the Pride Lands become, that his deceit-ridden leadership caused some sort of ecological disaster, a disaster that is promptly fixed as soon as Simba takes the throne. The move is an easy visual symbol that signifies the mood of the land, but let's be honest, it doesn't actually make any sense. Okay, so he's a bit of a wiseacre, but surely that doesn't warrant the abuse that is constantly launched towards Zazu throughout the film. When you were little, it's likely you witnessed the abuse he suffered with the sort of sardonic glee. After all, his enforcement of boring rules and regulations and his constant playing by the book was an all-too-real reminder of just the sort of nonsense you had to endure from your own parents and teachers on the daily. So of course audiences giggled at his many woes. Who wouldn't? Now though, it's hard not to just feel sorry for him. Not just because his pun game is on point, but also because he's clearly just just trying to be a good person and help everyone get along. Yet rather than being rewarded for his loyalty and dedication to Mufasa, Simba, and the Pride Lands, he's taunted mercilessly, used as target practice, trapped in a cage and forced to sing, threatened with unemployment, and even almost becomes a lined lunch. Give the bird some respect already. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.